Hello and welcome to Insert Coin and Let's Talk. Our guest today is Jan-Christoph Oetjen from Renew Europe Group in the European Parliament. Hello, Jan-Christoph, and welcome.
Hi, good to see you.
A lot has been discussed over the last 2 months regarding air companies. Every company was basically grounded all over the world. Millions and millions of tickets were basically suspended or cancelled. And now there is a huge problem to be solved by the airliners. Where we stand at this point, and what is the European Parliament doing to help the customers and as well the airliners? They are facing tremendous financial constraints and even future difficulties.
The transport sector, especially the airlines, is one of the most hit sectors in this crisis. And what we need to do at this moment is to help these companies to survive, because it's a question of survival. And on the other hand, consumer protection has always been a very, very strong pillar in the European Union. And what we need to do is to find a balance between consumer rights on the one hand and helping the airline industry on the other hand, because there are the Gulf Airlines where it's kind of state companies and the states are pumping money into it. There are the American airlines where there's a lot of state aid for those companies, and there are some companies in Europe where the states decide to help as well, but these are only some, 3 at this stage. But we have a lot of airlines where there's no state behind. So from my point of view, if we want to have competition in the market, which is good for the customer, because at the end, if you have competition, you have low prices. We need to save the airlines as well. That's why the European Parliament pushes for a European voucher system where the airlines distribute vouchers for the cancelled flights to the customers, which are flexible, which can be used, which can be used for other family members or later, or can be split. They have to be guaranteed against insolvency. And what is most important for me is that the consumer has a choice. So if he really needs the money, if he needs the cash back because he lost his job, and I mean he has a ticket, paid a ticket price which was very high, and he needs the money back, he has to have the option to get his money back. This is a question of being reliable from my point of view.
There will be let's take the example of Brussels Airlines. Brussels Airlines belongs to the Lufthansa group.
Yeah,
one of the biggest, if not the biggest airliner in the world. As we stand, there are being proceeded layoffs. I think 1,000 of the 5,000 staff members were laid off a few days ago. Yeah. 16 of their aircrafts will be basically parked. They're going to cancel the less profitable routes as well. And I think this is a good example of the majority of the airliners are facing today. If the situation continues, and there is a key word that is trust, and I think the majority of the customers, if they are able, they will not fly for a long period. Mm-hmm. The situation will even escalate in a negative way. Is the European Union prepared to develop a specific financial aid package to all airliners within the European Union, overcoming even the national action by the different member states? And a second question, a follow-up question would be, do you fear that we're going to go back to the 70s or to the 80s when to fly from Brussels to Berlin, instead of be like 60 or 70 euros, the low cost will become again 300 tickets, 300 euros ticket?
But if we don't have competition on the market, the prices will get higher. That's for sure. I mean, you have to look, if you want to go to an African country, often this is only one airline who's doing the connection. from Paris to I don't know which former colony, and the price is really, really high because there's no competition. So competition helps us. That's why we need uh, um, a lot of different airlines with different proposals of flights, of schedules, um, uh, yeah, of different types of flights. So uh, that's why safeguarding this competition is very, very important for the customer as well. It's not about helping the airlines and bailing out companies that are not able
No,
to
it's
survive.
beyond that. It's much beyond that at this point.
It's much beyond that. So that's why, from my point of view, as a European Union, we have to be aware of this situation. And you talked about trust. For me, trust is the most important thing because people won't take an airplane if they don't trust that this airplane is run properly, that it's safe from a corona point of view, so that it's hygienical and from a sanitarian point of view well managed. So this is important from my point of view. That's why at this stage in the European Union, the Commission and EASA as well, they're working on guidelines how to run flights in Corona times. And I mean, for everybody, it's clear that social distancing in an airplane is quite difficult. I mean, it's the same in a bus or in a metro. But you have to have some kind of measures that people can say, I took the plane, it was safe, I felt safe as well. It's not only about being safe, it's about feeling safe as well. It was a good experience, and I recommend to my family and my friends to fly because it's not difficult. And I mean, Europe is about having no borders and being able to go from one point to another. And at this moment, we are not able to do so. Um, we need this European spirit back. That it's easy to travel, and that's for sure that we need trust for this.
Let me take that last statement you did. Vacations. Will Europe and Europeans have a summer this year, a proper summer, or they will be able to cross borders that, as you said, didn't exist for us for many decades, and now we have for sure, if there will be some possibilities to go for Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, Croatia, and other countries that are traditionally countries that receive a lot of visitors during the summer period. Do you think this will happen, or do you think there will be a lot of constraints regarding routes or border controls? What do you think? What will happen?
First of all, I want Schengen back, and I want those.
I'll sign that as well.
I want those border checks not to happen because, I mean, they don't help in Corona crisis. To be honest, lockdown, okay, it was to at that moment that was to maintain a situation to get back control of the Corona spread. But now we can lift those controls because they don't. I mean, they're for nothing. So I think we will have a summer. Yeah, in Germany it will be the 12th of August. Um, but no, I think it will be possible to go on vacation. But that's about trust as well. Um, Many families won't go to Spain or Italy because they don't trust in the situation in these countries.
Yeah,
And
these
countries are the most hit by the pandemic, and they are the most hit as well because tourism is 12% of the GDP of Spain, for example. So it's a huge impact in these countries. I think it will be possible, but I think that the number of people being willing to go on vacation will go down. But we need a European approach on this. I mean, all the member states they decided on their own to have border checks, etc. And now we need common going back to Schengen rules.
Yeah. Let's continue to talk about borders, different borders with some critical and humanitarian critical dimension. Let's talk about Greece. There was a standing and really big concern what was mounting again next to EU border, in the Greek border. And suddenly this is completely almost out of the news. Nobody is talking about it. Only sometimes there is small news that Portugal, for example, will take again, I don't know, 60 to 100 small kids from these camps. But the reality is that this is a topic that is basically out of the news at this point. And it's an extremely concerned situation. Could you enlighten us how the situation is developing and what has to be done?
First of all, what happened on the Greek islands in those camps like Moria on Lesbos is not acceptable within the European Union. To be very, very clear, I don't think that we can accept that people live in those conditions on the soil of the European Union. First, secondly, sometimes it's good when issues are not in the news, because that gives the possibility to prepare measures. I think that it's good news that almost half of the European members, the member states of the European Union, decided to take kids and families with kids from those camps. That's good news, because they did not do so before. So I think things are evolving. But what we have to do at this moment at the European level is to urge the Commission and the German presidency to put asylum and migration in the heart of the second half of 2020, and to go to present the pact on migration, where we're talking about since months, and to have a more than that. But the new Commission, they started to make to the capital to talk to the different member states. They talked to all the groups in the parliament. I myself had several discussions with Ms. Johansson and Mr. Skinas, and they were preparing the ground for having a European approach on asylum and migration. And I think we need this urgently. So I think things are evolving, but we need to urge them to go out with this now. On the Greek islands, let me say just shortly, I think this is the moment where we should, these camps on the islands should come to an end. I think the European Union should help the Greek state to have decent, proper camps on the Greek mainland, to evacuate all the camps that are on the island, to bring the people into these camps on the mainland, to bring the kids and the families with kids to other member states, to help them in these member states, and then not to have these camps on the island that are not acceptable from a humanitarian point of view.
Definitely. Is the lack of a migration policy, a EU migration policy, one of our weakest pillars at this point in the European Union, because it represents also a fragility towards countries that at this point really don't like the European Union, and like Turkey. The way that the Turkish leadership has been behaving in the last almost decade towards the European Union has been everything but positive and constructive, and they've been using human drama basically against the Union. So this is also the other side of the coin. So Do you think that by having a strong and clear EU migration policy, we would be able to counter this almost threat that we are facing from Turkey, but also would be positive for many African countries in terms of economic migrants that want to come and have a different and better life in Europe with clear rules for the game, like New Zealand, Canada, Australia, the United States have. So do you think that this is one of our weakest pillars within the EU, and then with a proper and strong one, we would overcome all of this in one go?
If we will overcome all this, I don't know, but it's a very weak pillar for the European Union, and we did not manage to deliver on this in the last years. That's clear for me. And to be honest, I think the people in Europe, they want the European Union to have a common approach, because the Italians, they say, you let us alone with the migrants coming over the Mediterranean. The Greeks say the same. We in Germany in 2015, we took a lot of migrants, but the feeling was the other member states don't help us. I mean, it's managing our borders and dealing with asylum and migration is a common issue for the European Union, from my point of view. All the member states have to take part in a kind of way. There are different approaches, sure, between the different member states, but I think we can find common ground on this, and it's a question of solidarity within the European Union. It's a question of being decent and humanitarian vis-a-vis other people that are in difficult situations. But on the other hand, it's about having clear rules as well, because a lot of migrants that are coming, they are looking for a better life, and this is something very normal, even very liberal, I would say, to go somewhere and to pursue for a better life, for happiness, for being able to work, because they have no possibility to do so in their home countries, or they see Europe as something very positive, where they can live their dream, or where they can work and be able to feed the family. Sometimes it's about that. So what we need, from my point of view, is a strong approach as well on a common European labor migration policy. What we propose is to have clear rules for migrants as well, to apply for a talent pool on the European Union. And there are member states who lack people to work. I mean, in my home region in Germany, we have 2.5% of unemployment. The companies, they are looking for people, and they do not come, and they do not come from other EU member states either, to be honest. So if there are people willing to work, sure, accepting all the rules that we have in Europe, I think that they should come. But we need a common European approach to have such a talent pool, and then the member states can decide. We need workers, so we look in the talent pool and see if there's somebody willing to come. We don't need workers, we don't do so, because I think in the situation in the member states is still different and will remain still different even after crisis. So I think we should act on this, because it's one of the points why the people are coming via the asylum system, is because there's no possibility to apply for the labor market.
Definitely. And this, I think, bridges the next topic that I want to go through with you, and it's very important, and you are committed to. You are a member of the European Parliament working in the EU ACP delegation. So the first statement from the President of the Commission was Africa, basically a commitment to Africa. It was the first external visit that President von der Leyen did, and now we are in this amazing and extraordinary situation. The MFF has to be basically adapted to this new reality. We have standing investment funds developed by the European Union towards Africa. Do you fear there will be consequences and cuts on these development funds towards Africa from the EU?
I think that will be in the discussion, but we have to defend them. Ursula von der Leyen made a strong statement by going to Africa as her first external visit, and I think we have to deliver now. But it's about funds helping, but it's about trade as well. It's about cooperation. I mean, with all the funds of the world, you will not manage to give prosperity to Africa. You do it by trade, by cooperation, by developing industries and the economies in the African countries. That gives opportunities for the people, and they will find work at home and don't have to go to Europe. I mean, all this is linked. All this is linked. So for me, it's as important as all these development aids is the question of being on an equal footage concerning trade, concerning developing the African economy.
Okay. Because one of the looming discussions now with this China crisis as well regarding trade and trust and much more other dimensions of this issue with China, there are questions being made: why haven't we, as the EU and our member states, invested previously in Africa, developing infrastructure, helping these countries to develop infrastructure, economy, and industry, like you said, and also education, and by establishing their proper industry, not the typical dumping and sweatshops that we find in China, for instance, but it's much closer to home and could be a different relationship since the beginning. Do you think there will be a shift from a country like China to other latitudes in terms of industry investment by EU companies?
I'm not sure. It's at the end, it's about stability. If the countries in Africa are politically stable and the investment is guaranteed for the future, the companies will go there. China has a different approach. I mean, these are state companies. Their aim is different. I mean, they send even the workers to China to build the roads. The Chinese workers to Africa to build the roads and the trains, etc. So the approach is different. I don't think that you can compare this quite easily. But I think in the last decade, the European countries became conscious about the fact that the former helping policy, let's say it like this, of development aid in the African countries had to change into the direction of enabling growth and prosperity in these countries via economic cooperation. And this is a good thing from my point of view, because the old one, the old way to do was very, let's say, colonialistic in a kind of way, saying we will help you to do this and this and this, but it was not on the equal level of discussion and cooperation. So I think this is this changed a lot, and it's good. But we will need European countries to find a stable, how can I say, find a stable situation in those countries to accept to invest there. But we can enable this from a political point of view. Yeah,
of course. In the past, to this aid package was basically throwing money and without any due diligence or control. Now things are completely different. The EU is committed really to have this due diligence process ongoing process, to be honest, and always as a stakeholder be present, be a responsible actor. Let's change a bit the topic, and to conclude, I would like to have your opinion as a German member of the European Parliament on the standing and well, to be honest, quite serious situation that we are facing regarding a German decision regarding a potential package to help the EU to overcome the so many present challenge and quests that we are facing. This decision by it was the Karlsruhe, yeah. Where do we stand? How do you perceive this situation? Because there are a lot of people concerned about this. Even the Commission is already thinking that they can penalize Germany on this.
For the Germans, it's a difficult situation as well, because this never happened, that our constitutional court overrules the European Court of Justice. Overrules is perhaps not the good word, because normally it's the European Court of Justice who has the last say. So to be very clear, for the German politician, this is a very strange and difficult situation. What Karlsruhe said is that the parliament in Germany and the German Federal Bank have to look more closely to what the European Central Bank is doing. They do not say that what they are doing they shouldn't do. So this is kind of a question of control. But I don't know how the German government will applicate this, if they can do so. But concerning the actual crisis, from my point of view, the way forward is a strong MFF. And I'm sure that Germany will be committed to take part of this project as well, because we see that in this Corona crisis, solidarity is so important, and this is the same for the German people. We had a lot of luck in Germany within this crisis, but we see that to overcome this crisis from an economical point of view, we need a European common approach, because if we want to be strong as a European Union, this goes only with a lot of money now. Our Federal Minister of Economy said we need a bazooka, and I think he's right. But we need a European bazooka on this to boost the economy and to overcome this crisis.
Well, let me just provoke you a bit. Well, not really provoke
do so.
You, but I did a small video over the weekend on Saturday, on Europe's Day, and I said, as we are, this is not working. We are dragging ourselves over the last 2 decades after one of the biggest achievements in the last 100 years in Europe. That was the euro, the currency. I think it was a tremendous accomplishment. Basically, since then, and I will not even discuss the process how we've built the euro. That I think there were a lot of things that were not properly done, but that's a different story. But to be honest, until now, I think we are dragging the European Union over this basically impossible puzzle that is our treaty, that basically constrains more than enables. So it's clear that we need to revisit and to reopen the treaty of the European Union. Of course, everybody screams, "Oh, we can't open because we have Hungary, we have Poland, we might have Austria and other member states that will block everything, and that they will use that opportunity even to downgrade the union." I think we are facing this decisive moment today in Europe. You, as a member of the European Parliament, as a top politician and still a young politician in Germany as well, in FDP, is this Europe working? I believe that your answer is not quite. And what do we need to do as a whole, as a full organization, to really move forward and be more competitive, to have more solidarity, to be a de facto political actor in the international, in globally, to shoulder China, the United States, in a positive way, not in a negative way, but to, you know, what is missing? Why are so many member states lacking the vision or the understanding that we need really to go further and to be stronger?
I don't know why they lack this, but what I see after almost 1 year in the European Parliament is that the biggest problem in Europe is the Council, and the Council blocks almost every new achievement of the European level. And I think what we would need first is that the Parliament becomes a real Parliament. I've been a parliamentarian in Germany for 13 years, and a Parliament doesn't work like the European Parliament. In the European Parliament, as a member of Parliament, I cannot do my own initiatives. Everything has to be approved by the Council as well. I mean, this is not a Parliament in a real democratic parliamentarian democracy. Yes. So I think we have to beef up the Parliament first. And to overcome this situation that the Council has to co-decide on everything. That means, at the end, that we need a European state. This is a vision for perhaps a future far away, because I'm not sure that the people living in Europe, I would say the European people, is ready for that and would accept this. Especially in this crisis, nationalism became stronger and not less stronger.
Yeah,
less strong. But at the end, probably we need a European state, and I'm not sure how long European money without a European state will work properly. I mean, we're doing quite well with the euro, and it's a real important achievement, one of the most important, I would say, with Schengen. But when we don't have a European state with a European budget, with the possibility to raise taxes and all this stuff, I'm not sure how far this will go. But you are right. The states in Europe have very different views on that, and I think this will take another generation to go forward with this. So for me, the first step is to change the rules concerning co-decision in the on the European level, because this makes our process very difficult and not quick enough. And if we don't have not longer this co-decision or less co-decision, let's say like this, I think things would go smoother and we could have achievement on the European level. But that's, for me, that should be only a first step.
Do you think that if we would abolish the unanimity rule would be a first step into the right direction?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Unanimity is hilarious.
It's not a democratic tool for sure.
No, listen, I've been member of a city council for almost 20 years. And in this city council, it's a small town, almost all the decisions have been with unanimity. And the people were happy with this. I mean, people are happy when it's unanimity and everybody agrees. But if you tell them, imagine your city council has to take all the decisions only by unanimity, they will say, no, that doesn't work, because if the last idiot does not accept,
Of course.
You don't have a decision. So unanimity rule is, I don't know what how to qualify this, but we don't need this. We have to overcome this.
You said the word. He only needs one idiot to block everything.
Yeah.
Okay, we have.
Honestly, at the moment, we have more than one idiot.
Sad but true. Okay, we have 30 seconds to go. Jan-Christoph, tell us in 30 seconds what are you doing and what is your upcoming projects in the European Parliament.
Oh, at the moment we have plenary session, and I'm doing an interview with you. But the actual project is a common letter from me and other colleagues to the European Council and the Commission and the German presidency to urge them to accelerate the Migration and Asylum Pact because we need to act on this. This is my actual project.
Okay. Jan-Christoph, thank you so much for being with me today and to talk to our viewers. I wish you the best and stay safe.
Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure.